Hey everybody, it's TJ from the Nashville Wine Duo, and I want to tell you about Anchor by Spotify. It's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me tell you why. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. So if you're interested, check out anchor.fm for more information. What's up, everybody? I'm TJ.
And I'm Kelsey, and we are
the Nashville Wine Duo.
What's up, everybody?
Woo-hoo.
Well, it's another rainy day out there here in Tennessee.
Nashville weather.
All I keep hearing from everybody is like, I want this to be over. But some people I've talked to said that they think that that means we're going to have a longer spring.
Oh, is that like Groundhog Day kind of
No,
information
nothing
and
to do with
stuff?
the groundhog.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, definitely been feeling the allergies for sure. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody, I mean, if you're not from Tennessee, we're in this, like, what is it called? Like, it's like a special allergy valley.
I don't know about this.
No, it's a thing. Like, we're in this. You really don't know?
No, but I know the allergies are pretty crazy in Tennessee.
We fall, like, into this certain area where, like, pollens reach this different thing that they don't happen in other places. I don't know. But I never had allergies until I moved here.
True. And I think that's the case for a lot of people that move here.
You have to take medication for it, like, every day.
Yeah, when it's really bad. Yes. And right now it's really bad.
Yeah, but I don't take medication for it. I'm actually like, I don't really take medication for anything, and this becomes kind of a thing between him and I. I'm like very like, I don't even want to take ibuprofen, like, if I don't have to.
You are very anti-pill.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. Go breathe some fresh air, eat an apple, that kind of.
Eat an apple.
But you know what? I don't get sick very much.
No, you don't.
It's really true. Like, I barely like ever get sick. So
Right.
that's the nice thing about it.
Well, props to you.
Props to me.
Keep not taking
I do
pills.
bruise really easy though. I must be low in iron.
I think it's a proven fact that most females are low in iron.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, just because of the
Are you gonna say just because of our periods or something
yes,
like
the
that?
monthly blood loss. You guys lose a lot of blood.
I don't
so
know
it's
about
iron.
that. I don't know about that.
I don't know. It's just Dr. TJ talking.
Okay, well, you're not a
But-
doctor. Good thing. We did get some new and improved stuff for like the sound on the podcast. So like hopefully you guys can notice a little bit of a difference. We invested in some more equipment. Well, TJ did. He went and found all of it. Where'd you get all of it at? Amazon?
I just searched it out.
Yeah, but he
It's a
was down here
crapshoot.
messing around with it last night with the sound, and you spent like an hour down here.
Yeah. Hopefully it pays off.
Yeah,
We sound better.
I already feel like it does from like the sound stuff that we've done. So we're really investing in this, and yeah. So hopefully the improvements helped.
Hopefully it pays off.
Hopefully it pays off.
And we sound better.
How was your week this week?
The week was long. I feel like it took a while for us to come to the end, but we worked a lot, and it was a good week. Nothing bad happened, which is always a good thing. So
Nothing good did either. Anything stand out to you?
nothing good did either. Nothing really stands out. We worked hard, and then we played hard when we weren't working. So kind of went into downtown Nashville and went to a new spot.
It's not like, I wouldn't really call it like new at this point.
Well,
but
no,
new for us.
it's probably, I don't know, within this past year it opened up, right?
Yeah, and let's actually say what it is instead of just like
No, we want to keep it vague so people
keep it
don't
a
know.
secret or something.
Yeah. People don't know what it is.
We went to 60 Vines, which is right downtown off Broadway.
What's in that whole new complex of 5th and Broadway? It's like this. They take up a whole block, I think, of retail space, and it's just restaurants and
Yeah,
everything. So
definitely like a place if you're gonna go, like make a reservation, figure out the park, go down there early, obviously, like all that. I think most people are just like, oh, we're gonna go downtown and we're gonna do all this stuff, and it's like the parking is a little nutso, especially on a weekend. But
yeah,
I
a little
mean,
challenging.
but we figured it out. Yeah, but it was beautiful place. Like to get there, you walk in and I mean, there's all these buildings that you kind of have to go through. It reminded me of when I lived in Minneapolis that you could just go from building to building without ever stepping outside. So you go through all these different restaurants, and then it's at I forget which floor it is. We went
I
up
want to say
a
the
couple
third
flights of
floor.
stairs
Yeah.
for sure. But it's this huge open concept room. They've got like these long, beautiful tables, and then right out, like when you look straight ahead, there's like downtown Nashville. You can see, is it the Ryman, right? That's right next to it.
I think the Ryman.
Yeah. But a really pretty place to just drink wine. Then they have this whole open, like outdoor patio area with like fire pits.
Yeah, kind of a rooftop vibe.
Yeah, like a
setting.
rooftop vibe. But the fire pit, like, even though it was a kind of cool that day, like I was felt really good outside. Like
Yeah.
it was just really beautiful.
Yeah.
So the scene and the vibe I liked. What did you think?
Beautiful. Like you said, open concept.
Big trees.
I was
were in
expecting
there.
something totally different visually in my head, but then
What
when
were
it
you
showed up, I was like,
expecting?
I don't know, it's like a closed concept kind of restaurant with the
Mhm.
rooms, and it was a tall,
Yeah.
almost like industrial type
It
ceiling.
was like almost like you're in like a big like cathedral, like a church or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it was really wide open and spacious, but yeah, the view from outside a lot of people were taking pictures on the rooftop and everything. The cool thing is they got 60 wines on tap.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very accommodating when we wanted to just sample a wine just to kind of taste it and see what it tasted like.
Yeah.
And they said because they're on tap, it's easy for them not to have to open a bottle and give a sample for someone to try it before they commit to, a
A whole
glass
glass or a bottle.
and they don't do bottles per se of their 60 wines on tap. They do carafes.
Crafts. Yep.
So
Yeah. So when they bring it out to you, I mean, which in a way I was kind of like, oh, well, then it's already been, how am I blanking on this word right now?
oh, decanted?
Yes.
Oh, well, she's doing these hand movements where she's pouring,
I
and
don't
I'm
know why I
having
blinked
to
on that.
play.
It's
We're
already been
playing.
decanted. That's what I thought. So yeah, they'll bring it to you in, I think it was like 2.5 ounces, 5-ounce glass,
They had
or
an 8-ounce,
8-ounce, which you'd split between the two
two
of you.
people, and then a
And to
750
be a little
craft.
honest, that's like not very much. Just
No, 2 4-ounce.
no, like we ordered that, and like I'm not gonna lie, we poured it, and I was just like, that will be gone in about like 12
It
minutes.
filled up about a quarter of the glass.
Yeah. So you
We
have to go
laughed.
in there mentally being like, I'm just gonna sip on this slowly.
Yeah.
And if it's a really good wine, that's easy to do, to tell you the truth. And that wine he gave us was really good.
Yeah. So he recommended, first off, Sebastian was our server there.
Oh, you remember his name? You have a good memory.
Yeah, Sebastian. And he was super knowledgeable on the wines.
He enjoyed talking about wine too, which was
Loved
cool.
talking about wine, which we love talking about wine. So he
Mhm.
would just stand at our table. Our whole brunch was like 4 hours long. I feel like
It was 4 hours long.
it lasted
Yeah.
a long time. But Sebastian was super knowledgeable. He recommended this Archery Summit Chardonnay from the Willamette Valley.
Delicious.
And steel. It was stainless steel. Bright, but still had a creaminess to it.
And a little bit of like toasted oak.
Yes, pear, apple, but super, super refreshing and nice.
Oh, I loved it. It
Yeah.
wasn't buttery.
No, but like I said, there was a
Yeah.
creaminess element to
Yeah,
it.
but not.
But it was
Yeah.
not buttery and super oaky.
It was amazing. It was so good. And yeah, and one thing, I think that was one of those wines on there. They have that on the menu, right? At the bottom right there. It
Yeah.
talked about, why don't you explain that?
Yeah, so on the menu, when you sit down, they have a whole menu as your place setting on the table. And the wines that have like a little grapevine next to them are wines that are specifically made for 60 vines. And I think there's 6 or 7 60 vines in the country. I know there's one in Texas and other places. I don't remember where, but so there's a few of them around the country. And these vineyards will make special varietals for 60 vines. So that's the only place that you can try them. And the Archery Summit Chardonnay was one of them. I think there were maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 of those kind of wines on their menu, on the wines on tap. And then they have a whole reserve bottle section too, that you can get a whole actual bottle.
Yeah.
But the wines on tap were incredible. We tried between the table. We went with the Vintage Vine Crew. Vintage Vine 100, and there were about 10 of us.
Yeah, I'd
So
say about 10.
we tried a lot of different wines because people started
I think
ordering.
in total we probably about 5 bottles, wouldn't you say?
I was gonna say 5 to 7 because I know we tried a couple of the same ones because people liked it.
Yeah.
We tried what was it? It was a Gruner
Mhm.
um, Veltliner that we actually really enjoyed. There was a French Sauv Blanc and Semillon
Mhm.
that was like a Chateau La Fresnel. Fresnel, I'm totally botching that pronunciation.
Yeah.
But the Sauv Blanc with the Semillon was a great combination, I felt like, because the
Yeah.
Semillon kind of balanced out the Sauv Blanc.
Yeah.
It was delicious. That was probably one of my favorites on the white side that I tried, besides that Shard.
Well, and then that Gamay that we tried.
Oh, yeah. And then
That was so
we
good.
moved on to we're huge fans of Gamay, and this was a J. Morgan Gamay that's
Yeah.
on the menu.
Well, and we
Whew.
talking with the staff like at TJ's work about it. That was who was there with us from Vintage Vine 100. They have a Gamay as well, and we love the Gamay that's at that wine
Mhm.
bar. But it was interesting to see the difference in, I'm sure like region and just all that, because this Gamay was not nearly as fruit forward as the Gamay that's at Vintage Vine,
Right.
but totally different, but you can appreciate them both for like different reasons. But I hadn't had a Gamay that was like not as fruit forward, and I really loved it. Like that's a wine. Oh my gosh, I wish I could have like every night.
Yeah. It
It was
was
so good.
unbelievable.
And then the food there was great too. So like they have charcuterie, of course, and we got the fried zucchini was probably our favorite appetizer we
Fried
had.
zucchini, we had the Brussels sprouts, which had this almost like
It was
chili,
like an Asian style
yeah,
sauce on
chili
it.
sauce on there. It
Yeah.
brought some heat to it.
Yep.
Almost like Trader Joe's, what's that chili?
Chili lime crunch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had that kind of
A little
vibe,
bit of
that little
heat.
heat to it, but over the
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts.
But we talked about it. TJ and I were talking, and we're like, you can really tell that the menu was designed to be had with wine.
Yes.
Like, I felt like there were so many wines we had that paired well with everything that we had. And yeah, it really felt like whoever's behind this wine list and the menu is definitely thinking food and wine together, which
Yeah.
is majority of people that really get into wine would say like that's how they feel about wine should be paired with food, vice versa. Of course, it can be had on its own,
Mhm.
but that is very important in the wine world that you are pairing good pairings of food with great wine.
Yeah, it was thought out for sure.
Very thought out. And but yeah, I think it's a great place to visit. And it's just funny that when you did say it was like a new place, definitely not a new place, I think, in reality, because I went to work the next day and I was talking to people and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's my favorite place, I've been like 20 times. I'm like, okay, we're a wine thing and we've never been there. It's kind of a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
But Brett, who's a manager at Trader Joe's, he's like, oh yeah, like me and my girl, we go there like all the freaking time, like nonstop. I mean, he lives downtown, so I think that's part of it. But he said he gets the tri-tip, and a lot of people in the South don't know what tri-tip is because it's not really like a Southern thing. But
Okay.
out west, tri-tip is like very popular.
So what's a tri-tip? Because I'm not a big meat eater,
It's just
so.
like a part of the steak, like it's
Oh,
like
okay.
in the steak family.
Gotcha.
But I
So a
live
lot
in
of people in the South don't order it?
they don't know what it is.
Okay.
Like it's not like a thing that's very popular in the South.
Hmm.
And I lived in Colorado for 10 years, and tri-tip was like any restaurant you go to, you get tri-tip. My dad would always make tri-tip on the grill, and Brett too. He was like, tri-tip in California is like huge. Like there you get like tri-tip tacos, like it's all over the place.
Wow.
So he told me that. He was like, you got to get the tri-tip. I was like, they have tri-tip? And he was like, oh yeah. And so he said it's amazing. So next
Yeah.
time we go back, I'm getting tri-tip.
Well, even when we post about it on our Instagram, a lot of the comments people message us was just like, "That's my favorite place. I love that
Yeah.
place." So,
You know what, too? And one of the things I have to say is it didn't feel bougie. I didn't feel like the wait staff or any of the people there were bougie.
right.
They didn't treat you like whatever if you couldn't be there. There were some people that were like, well, I mean, you are off Broadway, so you kind of have to like not be bougie, I think, because you have so
You're
many
getting
tourists coming
everybody.
through.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that sense at all,
No,
and I've
not
been
at
to
all.
restaurants like that where it's like, okay, this feels very
And
stuffy and
again, the staff
bougie.
was very accommodating. Like our staff, the other people in our party were parking, so they were running a little behind, and Kelsey and I showed up first, and they sat us,
They
even
sat
though
us,
all
yeah.
10 of us weren't there.
Right,
They didn't
like,
even
a lot of
ask.
places would not let
No,
you. They would not let
it
you.
would be like a whole ordeal. So they weren't concerned about who was there of the party, and even though we had a reservation and stuff like that. So very impressed with the staff and the overall experience from 60 Vines. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so.
Make a reservation. It'll make your life easier.
Definitely
Plan to park. Plan to give yourself like
and when you
and
make
to find it.
and when you make a reservation, make sure you do it for the city that you live in, because our group made that mistake, so we had to call that morning and
They made it in like Dallas or something like
Dallas,
that. I
yeah.
don't know. But yeah, check that place out. Give yourself enough time to get up there and yeah, like go nuts on the
Yeah,
wine because it's great. So
definitely.
yeah, but
So we're drinking an awesome wine, I feel like, today, um, which writing the wine order at Trader Joe's for a year and coming in contact with this, I hadn't really heard of it. Come to find out, it's very special.
very
Hard
special.
to find. I guess a lot of places don't carry it, but Trader Joe's does, and it's only $4.99.
Yes, and it is Verdejo. Yes, spelled Verdejo, but obviously the J is silent. So it's like Verdejo, like ho ho ho, like Santa Claus.
Ho ho ho.
But yeah, it's super uncommon. It's really light bodied. It grows exclusively in Spain. It's a really good like alternative to Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio. Um, and it's really pairs great with food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not most people like a lot of people know about it or have tried it. So yeah, it's kind of exciting that you came up to me yesterday and you said like let's get this Verdejo because it's such a good value at
Well, and it just came back at stock. It's been out at
yeah, it's
Trader
been out
Joe's for
of
a while.
stock.
And then one of our followers posted that she found it in another city. And I was like, I love that wine, especially like going back to our spring and summer wines. This wine is so nice to drink on the warmer days in the spring and the summer. But it just came back at stock in Nashville, and I told Kelsey, I was like, let's talk about this one, because for $4.99 and just like how special
This
the
is only
varietal is,
$4.99. I don't
$4.99.
believe you. I gotta look at that. Are
It's
you
$4.99.
serious? I was
Yeah,
just drinking it and I was like, oh man, this is good.
and it's one like
No way. It's
yes.
$4.99.
And La Granja actually has an Instagram page. Like
Oh my
it's a whole
gosh. I'm
Spanish
flipping out right now.
operation, and they have an Instagram page. And
Wow.
I think it's an awesome story. It's an awesome varietal. For $4.99, I think it's kick ass. Like it's just a delicious wine.
Wow, I'm really impressed. We're gonna post a picture of it on our Instagram, but not everybody. I don't know if you don't follow it or not, but if not, just to give you a visual of the bottle, it's got a white label with a peacock on it.
Yeah, they call it the peacock on the La Granja website.
Yeah. And the top is all white with like a little bit of red at the top of the bottle, and it's a screw top. And some people again think screw top means that the quality is not as good in the wine. That's
That's not true
been
at all.
debunked by like every single wine person in the world. Like
There are
that's not true.
$20-$30 bottles of wine that have screw tops on them.
I actually like a screw top too, especially with like a white or a rosé, because then you can put it in the fridge easier. You know how sometimes you have that cork and it like sticks and you can't like get it in.
Well, yeah, and they're not meant to, again, going back to aging, you're not aging this wine.
Well, actually, I was going to tell you because I read about it. Not this one in
Not
particular,
this
because
one in
this is a
particular.
$4.99 bottle. But
I know where you're going
were
with
yeah, you
this.
know where I'm going with
Yeah.
this. That the Verdejo can be it's one of the few whites that can actually be aged and like end up being better over
Yeah.
time. Obviously, not this $4.99 bottle. This is not going to be one of those, but a more expensive bottle for sure.
It makes me want to search out a Verdejo that you could age,
Mm-hmm.
invest in one that you could age, or find one that is aged, that's got some years on it, and taste that, because I'm so intrigued by this varietal
I am
and this
too.
wine that trying,
An aged
one
one would be
with
really
some
interesting.
years on it would
Yeah.
just be fascinating to me.
Yeah, so if anybody listens to this podcast and they know that, just please reach out to us or comment in the comments if there's a Verdejo that you know of that you've had that's aged where we could find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, such a good wine.
But I think what's what you said, because it's Sauv Blanc meets Pinot Grigio. You get the dry crispness
Mm-hmm.
of the, like, I would say a Sauv Blanc,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's also, I get some floral stuff going
Yeah, and then
on.
that nice like fruit forward, but not super fruit forward either. I don't
No.
know. It's really like unique. I don't know. I love it a lot. Um, and not this too. They said like a lot of people get it confused with Verdejo, which is a Portuguese grape, because the names are really similar. Verdejo is not the same as Verdejo.
Yeah, two different
Two
varietals.
different varietals. But yeah, and this wine pairs with like so many different foods. And a lot of what they were saying when I was reading about it was like if it's something that would go great with like lemon, this anything that a lemon dish, this wine will go really really well with lemon or lime, lemon or lime.
Lemon or lime.
Yeah. And some cheeses that would go great are like sheep's milk cheeses, like manchego, pecorino, feta, halloumi. Halloumi is about to come back out. We get halloumi
Ooh,
at Trader
halloumi's so
Joe's
good.
every spring summer. That's like a cheese that you can like grill. So that would go really well with this too. Some of the vegetables are like artichokes. So yeah, we're gonna really
Love
grill some
artichokes.
stuff this summer. And I'm
Hmm.
like, let's grill some artichokes, make a delicious dip, and have some of this verdejo.
Yeah, and I was just reading about the region where where the grapes are grown, and I'm gonna totally again botch the name, but it's Rueda
I don't know, baby.
Rueda region, Rueda, and it is home to the largest number of plantings of Verdejo grapes in the entire world.
Mm.
And Rueda has sandy soils that are naturally phylloxera resistant.
Oh
So
yeah,
this is
phylloxera's a rot, by the way. If
yeah,
you guys don't know,
that kills the grapes
kills the
and
grapes. So this is resistant. This place
so
to
yeah, it
phylloxera.
almost sounds like it's not in a sense. I mean, even though I know the varietal, it does really well in this terroir, almost like
Mm-hmm.
it's a hybrid in a sense. Like
Yeah. Wow.
this is made to grow in this region, and it's hard to kill. You know what I mean? It
Right.
thrives in this climate and
Yeah,
terroir.
and the more and more you dive into that, the terroir, all that, like if this is resistant to that and it's just thriving, it's just like anything. Like if you were to get a native like tomato from where a tomato is going to grow best, that tomato is going to be way better than a tomato that is like forced to grow somewhere else. So when we're talking terroir, we're talking about an area where the grapes that are made to make this wine grow so well that minimal intervention is needed in order to produce the wine.
Hmm.
That wine is always going to be better than a place where you're forcing that to happen, where you're having to spray more, where you're having to, fight the mold more. The climate is just killing your grapes every year, whatever's going on. If you find a wine and you do your research and you find out that it grows really well where it's from, it's going to be a better quality. I bet you'll get less headaches. I bet you less things will,
Yep.
yeah, I bet you'll feel better after drinking it. Like, cause there's just not as much manipulation. So this Verdejo is one of
Yeah,
those.
those are the ones that you definitely want to be drinking,
Yeah.
for sure. So
Yeah. And we'll actually, I think that would be a good episode to talk about one time, just terroir, hybrid grapes, all that stuff.
yeah,
Um, vinifera, like all of that, like some of those terms that we learned about within the past 2 years. Terroir,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah, definitely. But like Kel said, we're going to post a picture on our Instagram. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, please check us out, the
yeah,
Nashville
the
Wine
Nashville Wine
Duo.
Duo.
The
The
Nashville
make sure you
Wine.
put the. We
Yeah,
had a fake account
yeah.
made
Haters.
made like
Yeah.
it was a while ago. It was like a year and a half
So
ago.
when we first started our page, like the
Yeah.
first six
But if
months.
you drop we used to have Nashville Wine Duo was our page, and then we put the Nashville Wine Duo,
Yeah,
and we should have just like kept that account instead
yeah,
of like giving it over to public, and then someone took it and in their bio it says not the fraud couple from Trader Joe's.
yeah. So that's not the one you want to follow.
Yeah. I have had people look it up and they're like, "This is you," and I'm like, "No."
Well, that's the one you don't want to
Yeah,
follow.
that's the one you don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
follow.
not
Yeah.
follow. Yeah, I said it
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said it weird. The Nashville Wine Duo.
The Nashville Wine Duo.
But yeah, check this out. Yeah, and when the halloumi comes out, when the artichokes, the corn, all this good stuff that's about to happen to eat,
Oh my
get
gosh.
yourself a bottle of this. I'm thinking actually now after drinking this and you telling me the price, we need to go back like at work and just buy like a case.
Oh yeah.
$4.99, and
Seriously.
like this might be my summer sipper.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's definitely going to be it. And we need to put our tag on it too so people know
Yeah.
it's the one we're talking
The
about.
peacock
The
wine.
peacock
Just
wine.
remember that.
Just remember the peacock.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of peacocks, Kelsey made some awesome portobello
What does it
mushrooms
have to do
last
with
night. It
peacocks?
doesn't. It was just a good segue.
Oh.
And we
Yeah.
paired that with a Cote d'Aron, which was, I think, an awesome pairing.
I don't know if we were supposed to do that together or not, but it turned out really good.
Ooh, the mushroom, yes. Yeah,
So
the
there's been
portobello
this thing,
mushroom
and we've
has.
actually been talking about possibly doing this. So as a way to make time go by when you're like up at the register ringing people out, you just ask them what they're making for dinner.
Hmm.
Um, and some people like, I don't know, just whatever's in this pile. Like, I just bought all this and I don't even know why. And maybe the orange chicken. That's sometimes what you get. But you do get a lot of foodies as well. There's definitely a lot of foodies that shop at Trader Joe's and that love to cook. So I'll get those occasionally, and I'm just like hanging on to like every word that they're telling me because there's some people that have some bomb recipes
We had
out
some
there.
good recipes come through the
We
line
did
this
this
week.
last week,
Yeah.
and I have thought about even like starting some sort of like customer recipe thing from Trader Joe's. I don't know because they're really creative and
Hmm.
stuff they come up with, and a lot of people have been talking about portobello mushrooms that have been coming through the line. Like one lady said she makes this portobello mushroom sandwich where she's like, I get sourdough, I grill that, and then I grill the portobello, and then I put Gouda cheese on top. She's like, that's literally all you need to do, and it's amazing. And I'm like, that sounds so good. And then what was the other lady? You were there.
Well, she caps the portobello mushrooms and then sautés spinach and puts it in the portobello mushroom.
Garlic cheese.
Garlic, yeah, put some garlic in the spinach, sautés all that, and then covers it with some kind of,
No, she puts a slice over the top so that way it kind of creates like a crust
yeah,
and
and it
like
makes it crispy
and
and
then
puts it in the
broils
oven.
it.
Yeah.
And so we're still trying to figure out the technique of getting all the water out of the mushrooms because I that's the first time I'd ever actually done that, and they weren't that watery.
No.
But I think that there'd be a way to like even make it better than that.
Yeah, and we love portobello mushrooms. Amerigo's, if you ever go to Amerigo's, they have a salad that you can get sliced portobello mushrooms in the salad,
Yeah, I
and it
think we've
actually
talked
feels
about that
like
in here
you're
before.
eating steak in a salad. Like the portobello
So
is so
good.
flavorful and juicy, and just they do goat cheese on it, and that's just one of our favorite salads at Amerigo's. So it's our definitely our go-to there. So if you go to Amerigo's, get that salad with
Yeah,
portobello mushroom.
so good. But yeah,
Um,
I enjoyed a lot of those conversations about food over this past week.
I think you're onto a good idea though, a customer kind of a recipe showcase maybe for the
Yeah,
week or
and then also
something.
talk about just like the really crazy things that they say sometimes.
Yeah.
But you
Some
had a good interaction with somebody. What was that?
Yeah, so a couple forgot their credit card at Whole Foods. They'd come shopping with us. They realized they left their card at Whole Foods. The guy ran out to his card and he's like, I don't have my credit card. I left it at Whole Foods, I think, just now. And the person waiting in line behind them, this guy, this nice guy, was just like, what's going on? And the people are like, we lost our credit card. And he was like, no worries. It was a $50 order. And he just stuck his card in and paid for him.
Wow.
Like, no second thought, just was like, yeah, no worries. And the young couple were just like so grateful, and they're like, we work at a wine bar at LL Market, and if you ever come in, I'll give you a free glass of wine.
Yeah.
And so I thanked the dude, and I gave him a free chocolate bar and said, thank you for being a nice human being. And
What kind of chocolate bar?
he bought
Oh, he picked it out.
he picked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the organic, like 85% dark chocolate,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
blue purple wrapping,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
which is one of the
That's a
best
good chocolate
dark
bar.
chocolate
Yeah.
bars. But yeah, I was really appreciative of him doing that, and I thought that was cool, and I wanted to, yeah, say thanks to him for doing that because he didn't have to do that. And like I said,
Very
he didn't
cool.
even bat an eye at it. He just shoved his card in there and was like, yeah, $50 later, and he only spent $50. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really cool. But then I also had an old customer, an old guy, and he was looking for something in the frozen department. And I was like, no, we don't have that. It's out. And he was like, this is the fourth time. He's like, I live 30 minutes away, and every time I come, you're out. And I said, I'm sorry. And he goes, I'm sorry too.
What?
And we just kept looking at each other,
You
and
just like stared each
we
other
stared
down.
each other down. And I was like, I really am sorry. He goes, uh-huh.
What?
And he just walked off. And I was like, cool.
Yeah, it's so funny. You get this like, oh man, it's just like this mini universe that like cracks you up sometimes. Like the stuff that happens there that you see, you're like, this is like only if everybody just came together for moments of time and just were completely themselves. And, there's no cameras on them. They're not trying to hold anything back. Like, I don't know. You just see everything there. It just cracks me up. Yeah, I actually had somebody get mad at me too on the phone.
Oh, on the phone.
Yeah, like the phone rang and nobody was around. So I was like, hey, what? Trader Joe's, I can help you with. She said, do you have the honey cat food? And I said, honey cat food? No, we don't have anything like that. And she said, it's the honey that the bees give to the queen. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, we have Trader Joe's honey. Like we have like Manuka honey. And she said, you don't even know what I'm talking about. And I was like, we don't have any kind of cat food with honey in it. And she's like, it's the royal honey. And later on, I figured out what this royal honey thing is, but we don't carry it. And that's why I didn't know.
Yeah.
And she was like, can you get me someone else? Cause you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, sure, no problem. And I put her on hold and she hung up.
Oh.
But then one of the managers was like, yeah, I guess it's this honey that the bees give to the queen and it's called royal honey.
Oh, I never
But
heard
she
of it.
wanted cat food version of that.
So maybe you buy the honey and then
Well, but even
pour it on your cat food?
one of our managers was like, yeah, that honey exists, but I've like cat food? Like, how is that in relationship with cat food? So like, and she seriously, her voice was really irritated. I'm like, how would you really think that I was like not confused by cat food and honey?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. People are interesting, especially at Trader Joe's. Like you get all walks of life, like you were saying. I almost got killed in the parking lot. I was grabbing carts, and these people just whip around the parking lot, and she almost took me out. And I had 10 carts going into her car. That was
When did that
fun.
happen? You didn't tell me
Yeah,
that.
yesterday. Yeah, and there
Oh,
was a customer
oh.
outside the store, and she was like, "What the hell?" She almost saw it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mixture of all bags, but I do think like the good people outweigh the crazy moments for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like I love all the little kids are so cute. That's like I don't know, I love all the babies coming through the lines and the kids, and when the kids are like super like interactive with me,
Yeah.
like sometimes when they like literally just ask you questions about your whole life and you're like, how are you like 5 years old? And you're like, this amazing. But then, they also see like nowadays for some reason the adults are pushing around the kid carts.
Uh, yeah.
And that's happened since after like the pandemic. Like they
Right.
never did it before. And now we look around and like grown adults are carrying around these kid carts. I think it's because they don't have the flags on them anymore.
Well, and in our store, that's the first thing that you see. So maybe that's they skip the other carts and then they come in and are like, oh, here's a smaller cart that I don't need to fill up all this stuff. So they just
But it's
grab it.
seriously, it's a
Seeing
child's
grown ass
cart.
adults pushing around a kid's cart.
Anyway, funny times. If you see adults in there with a kid cart, you'll know them. But yeah, I was going to. Well, yeah, we were talking about finishing out, just talking about some stuff that's going around in Nashville that's
Yeah.
wine related. We actually got tagged in this post. I don't know if y'all know about Spade and Sparrows.
Which is Caitlin Bristow
Mm-hmm.
from the Bachelorette's wine label.
Yeah, and we tried some Spade and Sparrows.
Yeah, they sent us some. And
loved it.
We did an IGTV
really good
on it.
Wine.
Yeah, it's really good.
But for the month of April, the Pool Club Nash, that's on Instagram, will be serving Spade and Sparrows rosé cocktails inspired by the spring equinox, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is going to be at the Virgin Hotels Nashville for their rooftop spring garden pop-up experience.
Nice.
Yeah, so you'll be able to get like awesome cocktails like by the pool.
Yeah, the Spade and Sparrow rosé is really, really good.
Yeah, so in the month of Nashville, the Virgin Hotels rooftop pool club and restaurant, they will be shaking up delicious Spade and Sparrows cocktails poolside and have transformed the entire space into the most picturesque spring garden. Really great for like obviously cool Instagram photos or girls' day out, birthday parties, bachelorette celebrations, and you might even see Caitlin Bristow. Who knows? That's pretty cool. Yeah, and there's a lot of other fun stuff coming up. The Nashville Rosé Festival, which is raising awareness for breast cancer. It's a breast cancer coalition.
Yeah.
That's doing that. That's really cool. Yoga and wine tasting, and we know the Twisted Sisters. We've had that wine too. They're going to do a yoga and a wine tasting on Wednesday, May 25th.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. And yeah, so check out all those things. We're going to try to stay more informed about events that are going on involving wine around Nashville and surrounding areas to let you all know places you should check out and
Yeah, and
events you should check out.
share those events with y'all.
Yeah.
And then we have a special podcast coming up later this week. We're calling them pop-up podcasts because they're outside of our normal weekly podcast, but we want to showcase wine people and people that love wine and stuff. And this is a couple from Seattle that have a podcast, the Wine Pair Podcast, Joe and Carmela,
so
who
fun.
we've gotten to know. And so we did a special podcast getting to know each other and sharing the same bottle of wine on separate sides of the country, and it was really fun.
Yeah,
so
we tried Black Stallion Pinot Noir, so you want to listen into that when we're gonna post it. It was such a fun podcast, and if you haven't heard of the Wine Pair podcast, Joe and Carmilla, they are so sweet and funny and very informed, and they did this whole bit with Alexa that was hilarious, that we loved, and definitely a podcast worth following just for knowledge of wine and just something to brighten your day, and that's fun. And
yeah,
I don't know, I really enjoyed talking to them, and we're excited to share that.
Yes, so the Wine Pair Podcast, definitely check them out. So but that's a wrap up for this week. As usual, guys, thank you for listening to us. Definitely subscribe to the podcast, like it, share it, give us good reviews, and help us.
If you like it. Yeah. If you don't, then yeah, you can leave a bad review. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Just be honest and real.
Yep.
And we can take it. And we just appreciate you all. And definitely follow us on Instagram if you don't already, the Nashville Wine Duo.
Yeah.
And have a good week.
Have a good week. Cheers.
Cheers.